So now, being in the present moment, this is such an important part of our lives, but also obviously part of telepathic communication with animals. And being in the present moment means being connected more with yourself, with the inner peace and essence of pure love that exists within us. And actually, animals do this, I feel, more often than us, because we are really in our minds. But animals naturally are more grounded, and which naturally bring them easier into a present moment. So that means their connection to source is so much alive than within us. That's why they can be so unconditional. That's why they can really experience life with more ease. They're more in the flow. And being in the present moment, it's a key for every single one of us to come back to self, to connect with yourself so much on a much more deeper level, to remember who you are. That's why telepathic communication is such a beautiful inspiration to follow that path. It's something that I have been discovering on my path with telepathic communication, something that I have not expected when I said yes, I wanna learn that style of communication. That's why, if you've been lacking inspiration to be more in a present moment and practice being in the present moment, here you go. You might have an amazing inspiration from now on to be in that essence. And this practice I'm going to share with you in the next video, it's a practice that you can use in every area of your life. And there is this beauty when you try this practice in nature. I strongly recommend you, because when we come back to the present moment and we feel through our senses, we actually might be able to experience the magic of life. We might be able to sense the equal value of life that exists within every form of life. And the nature will support us in that, because the nature desire for us to come back to self as well. That's why being in a nature is such an important part of developing telepathic communication, because it not only supports us to come back to the present moment, to connect ourselves with the pure essence of love that I call source, but also help us to ground ourselves, which is also the key to telepathic communication. And before we go to the practice, I just want to give you a bit more insights about how you can use that practice, because I think it's so important that when you feel, when you basically in a city or between people and you feel hectic energy, you feel conflict within yourself, you feel, I don't know, no good about yourself, but potentially maybe you're in communication with someone, and some emotions, the mind kicks in and creates stories and creates, I don't know, doubts or judging someone or whatever there is. And when we're in that state in the mind, we actually create stories and we connect with the projection reality, where we actually projecting that mindful thinking into our reality, thinking that that's the reality, that that's what's really happening, that this is the real story. So this practice is amazing to help you realize that, the projection mechanism is only the perceived ideas we have within us that comes through our mind. And I recommend you to try this practice when you feel, when you feel that, let's say you speak with someone and inside your mind, we all have it, the mind starts to kick in and says like, oh, this person is this and that, or this person thinks about me this and that, there is lots of stories that the mind likes to create. And I want to invite you to come back to yourself and really just use that practice. You will be able to use this practice without video at some point, because it's very simple but a very powerful practice. And you will realize that when we're in the mind, when our thoughts kicks in and we start to think about this and this and that, we are not in the present moment, and then the emotions start to more arise, and we start to be and create reality that it's not necessarily what really happened, what is the reality in this moment. So when that happens, I want to invite you to do this practice, and I guarantee that when you come back to a present moment and you look at this person again from this practice, by being in the present moment, you will notice a very different reality, because that's what it is. When we're in the present moment, we connect more to the divine truth, and we more actually in this reality. The mind is not the reality that it is. It helps us to live here, it helps us, logic creates, it's part of creative process as well, but it's not about us being in the mind and trusting and believing in the stories that we have, but it's actually about coming back to the present moment and create from that space, because that's the true reality for now, as we know. So the other thing is, I mean, this practice you can use at any point in your life. You can do it even by waiting for the bus. You can do by being in a queue when you feel your mind it just goes too busy. And I want to invite you to really play with that. You really um, get the habit of doing this practice almost every time if you find yourself really your mind is very busy, because what happens within the time that um, this practice and the specific order that is within this practice, which is important to repeat each time, it actually reprograms your subconscious mind, and within a time it will be so much easier for you to come back to the present moment, which is so beneficial when you do communication with animals, for example, not from the pictures but in a physical reality, in a face to face. So yeah, this practice, it's amazing. I have been doing this practice myself. As I mentioned already, I love doing it in a nature. I definitely recommend you to try in a nature as well. By all means, do it anywhere you feel you need to do. And just coming back to telepathic communication, this practice is very beneficial to do before connection with animals, because it helps you to clear your emotions, whatever it's alive within your mind at this time. It helps you to more balance you, and then from that space you can actually create the connection from your heart to the heart of animals, as the next step, but we will go into that later.